Welcome to the Mobile Home Friend YouTube channel. I am Charles Odell, and this is your primary resource for everything manufactured housing. Whether you are tackling a full remodel like the one you see here, or just looking for honest advice on repairs and financing, we provide the data and technical deep dives you need to succeed. Our mission is simple: to help you save money and improve your home through first principles logic and transparent cost breakdowns. For the full technical guides and even more resources, visit us at mobilehomefriend.com.
Welcome to another deep dive from Mobile Home Friend. Today we're looking at a big one, mobile home subfloor repair. And this is all based on our latest research over at mobilehomefriend.com. So, have you ever felt that dreaded, soft or spongy spot right under your feet? You know exactly what we're talking about, right? It's honestly one of the most common and critical issues we see in manufactured homes, especially if they're over 10 years old. But hey, don't worry, it's totally fixable. All right, so how do we get you from a spongy mess to a rock-solid floor? Well, we've broken this whole thing down into 5 simple parts. First up, we're going to figure out what's really going on. Then we'll talk money, the cost. After that, it's a 3-step dance: prep and removal, building strong supports, and then finally finishing the job right. So let's dive in. Okay, section 1. Before you even think about picking up a single tool, you gotta play detective. Seriously, understanding what you're up against is half the battle. So what is actually happening under your feet? You see, in a lot of older homes, that subfloor is made of dense particle board. And over time, especially in places you walk a lot or where there's been a slow leak, that board it starts to break down, it gets weak. And that's what gives you that spongy, soft feeling. Okay, now here is a fantastic tip for finding out how bad the damage really is. Don't just push on the obvious soft spot. I want you to get up and take these tiny little baby steps all around it. Your feet are amazing sensors. They'll tell you exactly where the solid floor ends and the mush begins. Go ahead and mark that whole area, because you've got to remove all of it, not just the worst part. And listen, this is a really important warning. If you find this sponginess isn't just in 1 or 2 spots, if it's kind of all over the house, you might be looking at a much deeper foundation issue, not just the subfloor. If that's you, we really recommend you check out the separate foundation guide on the Mobile Home Friend website before you do anything else. All right, so we've diagnosed the problem. What's next? Well, the big question is always the same, right? What's this going to cost me? Let's break down the numbers, looking at doing it yourself versus hiring a pro. We have to kick this off with a fantastic piece of advice from our own Chuck Odell. He says, never skimp on materials. Think about it. The labor, whether it's your own time or what you're paying a contractor, is a huge chunk of the job. So spending a little extra on quality plywood instead of cheaper OSB, it's a small price to pay for a result that's going to last so much longer. Okay, let's talk numbers for a typical small patch. You know, like in a bathroom or by the laundry machine. A sheet of good plywood, some lumber, underlayment, screws and glue. You can get all the high-quality stuff you need for somewhere between $90 and $170. I mean, for a handy DIYer, that is a steal for a permanent structural fix. Now, what if you call in a pro for that exact same small repair? You can probably expect the total bill, that's parts and labor, to land somewhere in the $300 to $600 range. So yeah, this gives you a really clear picture of how much you can save if you're up for doing the work yourself. All right, time to get our hands dirty. We're on to step 1, prep and removal. And I can't say this enough, this is the most critical part of the whole job. Seriously, you get this stage right, and the rest is going to be so much easier. And here's the thing you have to understand. That soft spot, it's just a symptom. It's not the real problem. The root cause is almost always water. A leaky pipe, a bad toilet seal, maybe a drafty window. Something let moisture get in. You absolutely have to find that leak and fix it for good before you cut into anything. So, here's your game plan. Step 1, find that water source. Step 2, stop it, permanently. As we noted on the site, if you skip this and just patch the floor, you're just throwing your time and money down the drain. Once you're positive it's dry, you can get out your saw and carefully cut out all of the damaged subfloor. Just be super careful not to cut into those structural floor joists underneath. And this brings us to a really important mindset for this whole project. Don't be shy with that saw. If a piece of the subfloor feels even a little bit soft, a little questionable, just take it out. It is always better to make your patch a little bigger than to leave a weak spot behind for later. Okay, so the old, rotten subfloor is out. Now what? Well, you can't just drop a new piece of plywood in there and call it a day. Nope. You have to build a solid frame to support it. This, right here, is what makes the difference between a real professional repair and just a temporary patch. And this is the number one, absolutely non-negotiable rule of subfloor repair. You ready? Every single edge of your new patch and every edge of the old subfloor that it touches must be sitting on solid wood. No floating edges, period. This is the secret to preventing squeaks and making sure your repair doesn't fail. So how do you add that support in? Well, you've got two main ways to do it. You could use traditional joist hangers, but honestly, they can be really tricky to install correctly when you're working under the lip of the existing floor. And that's exactly why we recommend what's called the sister support box method. It's a lot easier to build and get into the perfect spot. And building one is surprisingly simple. You just build a basic H-frame out of 2x4s. See that middle crossbar? That's what's going to support the seam. You lower the whole H-frame into the opening, then you screw the long sides directly into the existing floor joists. The trick is making sure that crossbar is sitting perfectly halfway under the edge of the old subfloor. It's a super strong, super simple, and really effective solution. All right, we are in the home stretch. The supports are in, and it is time for the final steps. This is where we put in the new subfloor and make sure that transition is totally seamless. We're going for a pro-level finish here. Okay, first things first. Make absolutely sure your new plywood is the exact same thickness as the old stuff. Cut your new piece so it fits in there nice and snug. Now, before you drop it in, go ahead and screw the edges of the old subfloor down into your new supports. Then, put the new patch in and lock it down with both construction adhesive and screws. Don't skip the glue. That's your secret weapon against future squeaks. You know, I love this quote because it is so, so true. Even after you do everything right, there might be the tiniest little height difference between the old floor and your new patch. And trust me, you will feel it through your new flooring. The level sensors in your feet are incredibly sensitive, and that's why this next step is so important. So what's the fix? It's a fantastic product called self-leveling underlayment. You literally just mix it with water, pour it over the seam, and it magically feathers out that transition, creating a perfectly smooth, flat surface. It makes a massive difference in how the final floor feels. And hey, if you want the full technical breakdown on how to use it, just check out the post on mobilehomefriend.com. And that right there is the payoff for all your careful work. You don't just have a patch, you have a truly solid, level floor that feels like it's brand new construction. This adds real value and, more importantly, comfort to your home. And now it's perfectly ready for whatever new flooring you've been dreaming of putting down. So now that your floor is solid as a rock, it kind of gets you thinking, doesn't it? What's the next project to boost your home's value? We'll leave you with that little thought to chew on. Thanks for watching. For more guides and to read the full article on this topic, head on over to mobilehomefriend.com and don't forget to check out the links in the description below.
Thanks for watching. For more technical guides on this topic, click the link to see the in-depth article over at mobilehomefriend.com. There are many more informational dives into manufactured home topics to investigate and keep your project moving forward.